All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome finally back. I know it's been a hot minute, almost the entire month of August that we've been gone. I had a birthday, my wife had a birthday, my normal guests had all sorts of things going on, and it just wasn't working out. But we're back now, hopefully for the till the end of the year. Thanksgiving, Christmas might get a little tricky, but we'll see. But hopefully for the rest of the year, every Monday we got one of these coming out. So without further ado, we're going to get back into it. Today, I got my boy Reed back, Dejon Reid at Dejon Reid, finally coming back on. And then finally got my boy Nash on, the one who connected me and Reed in the first place, even though we already knew each other, but the one who wanted to get Reed on the podcast. So we got him on. We're going to have some good conversations. We're going to talk about, football's back, baby, finally. Let's go. We're going to talk just a little bit about football, and then we're going to get into a debate that Reed was supposed to have, and then we're going to debate the topic a little bit. Spoiler alert, I think that we're not going to debate about it. I think we agree. And then we're going to get into, it's been this long, so we're going to get into Kamala Harris and Tim Walz and everything that's been going on with them, how terrible they are and how terrible they would be for our country. Then we're going to do our normal segment of attitude and gratitude. And then because football's back, we're going to replace the tier list this week with very, very early week one predictions on who our Super Bowl champion is going to be this year. So we're going to get into that, all that and more coming up from the front porch.
Big ships and small ships, and no ships like friendships.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back finally to another episode of From the Front Porch. It's only been 3 weeks or so, but we've all been busy. I had my birthday, my wife's birthday, and all kinds of other things in between. Mr. Dejon Reid has been private jetting around the country, being a big superstar and everything. And then Nash has just been busy as hell. But Nash-ville, Mr. Reid, how we doing today, gentlemen?
I'm pretty good myself, It's I don't want to give too much away. I'm gonna save it for attitude, gratitude. But life's pretty good.
Hell yeah, Nash.
Been doing pretty good, man. Been a long time. Finally able to sit down with the boys, have a little chit chat. I'm excited, man. It's a good day.
It is always a good day when we can all get back on the porch. I'm gonna go ahead and crack my beer and we can get this thing going. So
Alcoholic. Sad.
Hey, that's a man who enjoys a brew. All right.
That's a real American right there.
The mountains are blue, baby.
Exactly. The mountains are blue on my nondescript, non-branded beer because we don't do free shout-outs around here. So, but anyway, first topic of the day we were going to get into. I know, Nash, you're a big college football guy, and Reed, I don't know how you feel about football. You're good at it, but you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, but NFL is back. College football was back last week, but NFL is back this week. It's been a good Thursday, Friday, Sunday, tomorrow, Monday. I really only wanted to hit on one point on this. I know that, like I said, Nash watches college and Reed doesn't really watch. So Thursday, the NFL started with Chiefs-Ravens. And so we got the Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes, whose wife came out as based, supports Trump.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine you have a conservative wife and you're not conservative. So we're going to go home and go ahead and claim Patrick Mahomes on our side.
Yeah.
Harrison Butker, Chiefs, famously
Yes, sir.
based. Drew Tranquil was based about the Olympic thing, and he stood up for Harrison Butker during his whole thing. And then the Chiefs organization itself extended Harrison Butker after all that controversy happened. So we're going to claim them as base too. And they won on Thursday. So they beat the Ravens. So the base Kansas City Chiefs beat the city of Baltimore. So it was a good Thursday, good NFL day.
Yeah.
Nash, did you watch any games today?
Not today. No, me and Tori been doing stuff around the house pretty much all day. I watched UT play last week.
Whoop that ass.
Dude, they played Chat last week, and this week they played NCIU. I think that's who they played. And they ran up like 55 points on both of them. Just
what I'm
absolutely
talking
blew
about.
them out of the water. Chattanooga, that one's fine. I expected that. Chattanooga's, it's their startup game, right?
Yeah.
They just to beat up on them. And then NCIU, from what I understand, is actually not a bad team. Let me double check, make sure it's them.
Oh, and it was NC State.
NC State, that's who it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're actually not a bad team. I think they were ranked like 23 or something. And we were
Tennessee still whooped that ass.
Yeah, we were 14 and we destroyed them. I didn't have a chance to watch that one, but
We can watch the highlights another day.
I might not like the Chiefs as a team, right? But based on everything that you just said, it seems like they're incredibly based. So how can you not
Yeah.
like them? There's one factor in there in that organization that'll kind of add to that. But I mean, how can you hate them at that point? It's like, damn, you got to root for them.
Yeah. Seeing all the based guys and the organization and everything, and then they pan to the box where Taylor Swift is sitting, and it's just like, get her shit the hell out of here, dude. Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
And the fact that they're still the Chiefs and not like the Kansas City like people who own this nation first, like like
they stuck out the Redskins thing.
Yeah, they said Redskins, nope. Chiefs, you're not taking it. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you still got the freaking Florida Seminoles for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. But I tell you what, I don't even care about football at this point because my Packers lost. So there's really nothing to care about,
Well, so here's
That's
the thing:
fair.
they lost. They haven't lost in America yet, and nobody cares that they lost in Brazil. So
Brazil doesn't even exist.
it's not even a real country. People say Australia is not real. Brazil, not real.
I saw something. There's a rule that like they can't wear green in that stadium or something like that.
Well,
And they
outside
picked-
of the stadium.
outside the stadium.
Yeah.
And they picked the Green
The
Bay
two
Packers,
green teams.
and it was the Jets, right?
The Eagles.
The Eagles.
The two green teams. 2 out of the 3 green teams.
I also saw that like a bunch of people, I guess, were getting hurt. Like even the refs were getting hurt because the field was so trash.
I saw the field. It looked like Paris out there. It was so dirty. It was the dirtiest thing I've ever seen.
That's wild.
And the Packers quarterback Jordan Love got hurt, like almost because of the field, and it's like now he's out 3 to 6 games, I think, all because they had to play some game in Brazil that nobody cares about. So
That's crazy.
thanks, Roger Goodell. We appreciate you making this sport not American. That was about the only thing, though, I want to hit on the NFL. Other than that, it was just a normal kind of football day. Teams, for the most part, the teams you thought were going to win won, and the teams you didn't think were going to win lost. So, all right, next topic. This is the one I was really excited for. So last night, Reed here, Mr. Big Stuff over here, was supposed to have a debate. From what I understand, on the topic of can black people be racist? Is that correct, Reed?
Correct. Yes.
And
that was supposed to happen.
moments before it happened, the guy ducked out, and then
Shocker.
yeah, and then proceeded to get on another sort of podcast type thing, and then
Bros
got called out for it, and then he ducked out of that one. So, well, I get these notifications all the time, and when half of them are like making memes about Alex, it's like, okay, I gotta check see what they're saying.
Yeah. I was supposed to have a debate. It wasn't going to be anything too crazy. Mind you, didn't even want to do the debate at first. I was like, buddy, we've talked before. There's really no need to do this to ourselves. Try to give him some grace, but he really wanted it. So I was like, all right, bet. So we planned out everything. I got a host for it. I made backgrounds for it, and then like 2 hours before, it's like, oh, something came up. And I'm not gonna hold anything against you, but when you begged for this, you gotta at least come through. So and then to find out that immediately after he's on panels and stuff, I think if he really, and again, not holding it against him, but if he really wanted to do the debate, I think after you're free, you text the person and be like, hey, I'm free now. So I think it's not in his heart. He don't want it enough. I don't think he.
He didn't want the smoke.
Yeah.
He didn't want the smoke.
So listen, I'm not going to chase anybody to debate or anything like that. So if you don't want to get in the square, you don't got to get in the square. But it's unfortunate.
Well,
it's unfortunate. A lot of people were looking forward to it.
Well, especially on a topic like can black people be racist, I just expected you to lean in the mic and go, yes. That precedes my opening statement. Just like, yes, they are human beings.
I wish it was that simple. It's supposed to be that simple, but it's usually
well. So, because I wanted to talk about this because, like, it's one of those things where I absolutely hate when Republicans do this, but I'm about to do it with the whole Democrats are the real racist things. But if you in your mind believe that black people don't have the agency to be something that white people can be, you're being a racist. You're telling me, again, it's the same thing we talked about before with, like, they don't think they can get IDs, they don't know what computers are, but now it's like they don't even have the self-agency to have hatred in their heart that would be, like, perceived as racism. They don't have the agency for that. That seems pretty racist to me, buddy. I don't know.
It's like inferiority and superiority because, again, I'm sure we recognize that racist people are idiots, right? They're mentally inferior. So if I believe that only white people can, practice idiotry on the level of racism, I'm also like, I have no capacity to be that stupid, right, by the basis of my race. So it's the weirdest thing of all time. Makes no sense.
Like, the whole premise of that is so wild because it's like, the big thing, like, I hear this argument is like, you can't be racist if you're the one being oppressed, right? It's like, well, you're saying they're not, first of all, and second of all, like, you're literally putting them down by saying that. Like, that whole statement of saying that they can't be racist is racist. Like, it's so ironic. Like, it's a circle.
And also, if you're saying that you have to have power in order to be racist, I would say that if you get to declare who can be racist and who can't, you're claiming that you have the institutional power to do that, and therefore you have institutional power, and therefore you can be racist. So I don't even know.
It's a circle.
Yeah,
that's a nail on the head right there.
It's really stupid, and it'll get it sort of into our next topic too. But it's like I've been having conversations. I actually deleted Twitter again because I just can't handle some of the conversations. Not like emotionally, but like mentally, my brain cannot just I feel that the like twists and turns and being purposefully intellectually dishonest is like, I don't even know how to have this conversation with you. Like, for instance, the one that made me delete my Twitter was we were talking about the transgender issue, and they were saying that clothes aren't gendered, and I was like, wait. So you go into a store and you see there's a men's section and you see there's a women's section, and you're never one time confused about why is that item in the women's section and why is that item in the men's section. And then they were like, well, the founding fathers wore wigs and high heels, so what do you? And I was like, no, they didn't. They wore like male wigs, and they wore dress shoes, which male dress shoes still have platforms on them. Cowboy boots have the heel on them. Work boots have the heel on them. But we all understand they're men's shoes. And then they just got into like twisted pretzel knots trying to like defend. And it's like,
that's what took you out. That's what made you delete it.
Yeah, I was like, all right, I'm out. I can't. I don't even know how to keep going with this conversation. Yeah, it was. Well, and I'll just rant about this then. But the other one was talking about the shooting that happened, and so then, it always turns to like a gun issue and all this kind of stuff. And so then we were debating crime rates and all that stuff, and then they brought up Germany's crime rate in the conversation. And then I explained that Germany is the size of a state, so comparing our crime with their crime is a little bit different. And they were like, actually, it's only smaller than California, Texas, and Alaska. And I was like, right, so it's the size of a state. And he was like, no, but it's bigger than all these other states. And I was like, right, but it's the size of a state, not the size of every state, not the size of the average state. It's just the size of a state. And he was like, no, you're lying, and I was like,
you're lying.
I don't even know what to do here. I don't know, because we're not even arguing the point anymore. Now we're arguing about whether the size of Germany is the size of a state, and that's anyway. To circle back to the whole thing, it's like it's impossible to have a real conversation about these issues with those kind of people, because it's like, you're not even willing to start from a place of honesty. So I don't know how we can have an honest conversation about this issue, which I have a feeling the guy that Reed was trying to debate didn't want to have an actual debate where he might take in some things and expect you to take in some. He just wanted to say that black people can't be racist and white people are oppressive and all that stuff. And he was just going to list off the things he already feels and then never think anything else. And it's like, that's not it.
And I'm willing to admit that the first time we talked a little bit, it did start off to be a little bit genuine. Now I understand some people might not be able to like perceive my thoughts in the same way I can perceive theirs, but you can have a cordial conversation, and that's how it started. But then as the time went on and tension started to rise, it turned into exactly what you're talking about. And you know, it seems as if it always does. You know, it's rare when I run into somebody that can sit down and have a genuine conversation without all of the riffraff. You know.
Well, and that's funny too, because you know, I totally lost my train of thought, but you're trying to have, like, oh, that's what I was gonna say. So that they've done multiple studies, and so conservatives have always been able to know what leftists think, and I think partly it's because they control the culture. So like we understand what they mean when they say things, where it's been shown that like leftists don't know what we're saying when we're saying things. So like when we say we want voter ID to protect the elections, they genuinely believe that it's because we don't want black people to vote or whatever. And it's like, no, I just want the elections to be protected. And like I said earlier, I view black people as equal to everybody else, and I think they're equally capable of getting an ID. So I don't know where this is coming from. And so they've done studies, and like leftists just don't know. They don't actually know what we believe, and so it's impossible to have a debate with somebody who's debating with an idea that you don't even believe. Mm-hmm. So like they're arguing a point that you're not saying, and then you get stuck having to defend that you're not saying that point when actually you should be debating about the actual issue. So
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But their entire worldview of us is a straw man. Yeah.
Real quick, I just did a little Google search. The United States is 28 times bigger than Germany.
Yeah.
Just a quick little.
Yeah.
Germany's about the size of New York and Pennsylvania, a little bit bigger than that put together.
Right.
Goodness.
And so
Yeah.
But smaller than California and smaller than Texas, and smaller than Alaska.
It's not a state. It's not a state.
But and yeah, so
Yeah.
I said in my intro, but I said we are gonna like debate this topic because we didn't get to, and then I said spoiler alert, we're probably not going to debate it because we all probably agree on the subject. So so I guess we'll move on to the worst part, like the actual terrible thing that could happen in our country. So since we've been on here, Koala Harris has said that Tim Walz, Tampon Tim, Stolen Valor Tim, Commu Tim, they're going to run together. And it's actually terrifying. Now it's definitely gone down a little. You can see in the polls how Trump is now going back up a little bit and Kamala's going down. But the initial push of like the popularity she had was actually a little terrifying. And you know, you could know from the very get-go that it was just sort of a modern, like, this is the thing that's happening right now, so that's what everybody's excited about, and it was going to tail off a little bit. But boys, we could have good old cackling Kamala and Tampon Tim in the White House. How we feeling about that?
I wouldn't say I'm scared, right? I'm just I'm a bit perplexed. I find it very interesting that everybody, like just a few days ago, you know, these are the same people that were calling conservatives weird and, you know, MAGA weird. And I mean, it's like everybody's weird, especially when you look at them and the way that they come off, especially at a lot of these rallies. It's like a weird vibe, especially with Tim. Now, I'm not going to like make any generalizations, but when he walks out and he's waving his hands, it's like
he's real flaily. He's real.
Like, he's like flexible. I don't know what it is. Like I don't get it. But it's like they're trying to make him come off as like, I'm not harmful. I'm a good man. I'm not a dangerous man. So look at me. It's weird, bro. I don't like it. It's odd.
It's the political equivalent of a guy coming out and showing his belly, like an animal showing its belly, and being like, "I'm not a threat.
I'm not a threat."
It's like
the way he'll point to her and be like, "Not me, her." And it's like
it's about her.
It's like real
like
gay
Will
energy
Smith out there.
Yeah,
it
I think
real cuck slap in the face energy.
It's probably He's probably that flexible because he has no backbone. If I had to guess.
Got him.
I mean, I'd say that's
God,
probably.
I wish I had a
probably it.
freaking sound effect, but no. And then
Yeah.
Kamala, oh my gosh, bro, oh my gosh, she's I don't know if she's worse than Tim or what. They're like neck and neck because she is the worst thing to ever grace my ears. I can't stand it. Watching it is like torture. I can't.
I just every time I see any clips or anything of them, it like I know this has been a big thing here recently that I'm shocked, but like CNN pointed this out, which says a lot. They've not talked anything about their policies, about what they want to do. They pretty much just said Trump bad. We're gonna fix all this, yada yada yada. Like what they always say, and it's like, okay, fix it now. First of all, and second of all, like it doesn't. The pandering that I see just infuriates me so much because it just shows you that like there's so many people in the U.S. who just don't have a fucking brain cell to be like, oh, they show me this person because I like this person, I vote for them. No, that's so stupid.
Yeah.
Well,
everybody. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that, yeah, the amount of people who would go, she brought out famous person, therefore I vote for them, is like, this is exactly why the right to vote needs to be limited. Like,
yeah,
not based on anything, any sort of discrimination, but like
IQ test to vote.
Like, honestly, like I think even if your Twitter page or any whatever social media you use says, "Oh my God, she brought out Megan Thee Stallion, I'm going to vote for her," you immediately get your right to vote revoked.
Yeah.
Like immediately.
If somebody says Kamala is brat, you take away their right.
Oh
Yep.
my gosh.
It's like a red flag law, but for voting, they're like, we're going to hold on to this until you can prove
Got to
that
put the Patriot Act to use.
What are they going to hold on to? What are they going to hold on to? You don't need an ID to vote, so it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah, true.
It doesn't matter.
They'll just go to vote as like Juan Cortez and be like, "Oh, I'm from Mexico. I come to vote."
I identify as a Mexican.
But that's the everybody's putting themselves on like this moral pedestal, and nobody's claiming that like Trump is this perfect man. Nobody's claiming that anybody is some morally superior, perfect individual, right? I think the issue is when it comes to policy, like you said. Kamala's just don't hit the mark for me whatsoever, and the difference is people want you to look at Trump as this villain, this evil, this evil person, this Dr. Doofenshmirtz, if you will, while Kamala's somehow a saint. And in what regard is that true? It doesn't make sense.
Well, it's funny you say you don't agree with her policies because lately, she's pro border wall, she's pro fracking, she's literally just shooting out anything she can. She's like anything Trump said, or the tax free for waiters and waitresses, the tips, tax free on tips.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so your policy is now I'm going to be Trump, but a black woman Democrat, and it's like, and I like my vision of this is she's going to come out during the debate and be like, we should build a wall and we should dip the bricks in gold and we should make Mexico pay for it. And all her little fans are going to be like, wow, brag, gold wall. That's what I'm talking about. And all of a sudden they're going to be pro wall.
Exactly.
And it's going to be like.
No, she's going to go out in the middle of Atlanta and she'll be like, hey, y'all, we need to build this wall.
She's going to be like, no, because remember the issue was, Trump saying black jobs. She's going to go out to freaking Georgia and be like, listen, guys, they're taking all of the black jobs. That's what they're doing. So we need to build a wall. I think that's what we should do.
The same people that were like making fun of Trump for it are going to be like, wow, they are taking black jobs. Like they pretended like they didn't know what black jobs meant, and all of a sudden it's going to be like, yeah.
I want to know how many people watched The Kill Tony with Shane Gillis and Adam Ray dressed as Trump and Biden and thought that was real, because that's
it was like
about
their first debate.
They're like, I can't believe Trump said that. Yeah, posted on their Twitter, like
it gets like 41 million likes on it. It's just like,
there's like no community note or anything. It's like, yep, this is true.
Yeah, this is fact check. This is true.
Also, speaking of the voice change thing, Reed just did a funny TikTok about it, and I actually have the perfect thing I've been talking about with my wife. So, Kamala Harris changes her voice if she's in Detroit, she's Black Kamala, and if she's in Pittsburgh, she's White Kamala. And it reminded me of Disney. So, we were just in Orlando a little bit ago, and Disney changed the Splash Mountain ride because it was racist, and it had oh, yeah, we still love this ride, that kind of lingo that she uses. And they changed it to Tiana's Bayou Adventure. And we were driving by, and they have the billboard up for it, and I go, so they changed it because it was all like, oh, yes, sir, massa, right away, massa. And they changed it to, oh, yeah, we black people, we love the bayou. We be down there cooking Cajun food down in the bayou. But it's pro-black now.
I'm confused about that one. Now, that one, I didn't know that was why they changed it specifically. But it doesn't really make you go from this Cajun, somewhat Southern black accent to just another
Cajun Southern black accent.
It doesn't really make sense to me.
But
it's racism now, with extra steps. That's it. That's it.
Well, it's like we were talking about earlier. It's that bigotry of low expectations of we're still going to be racist towards you, but it's because we love you now that we're going to treat you like children. It's like, wait a minute. Did you just say you hate me?
What I am surprised by is, though, it's been long enough. If you haven't seen Deadpool and Wolverine, go see it, obviously. But with Nash, you've seen it.
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay, perfect.
We saw it together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. I'm surprised that not a lot of people were upset at Gambit, and I guess the country's healing because yes, white people sound like that in Cajun Louisiana. Correct. I expected a lot of people to be upset at that. So
I definitely saw some backlash for that, but let me tell you, dude, when the nerds come in, they come in strong, and they fucking shut that shit down. They gave a whole backstory. They're like, Remy LeBeau was born in dude. They shut it down, and I was like, yes, this is what we need.
Dude, it's funny because the Acolyte, the Star Wars show that was woke and terrible and everything, got canceled, and then Deadpool and Wolverine made $1 billion, and there were a bunch of people on Twitter who were like, well, this is perfect proof of blah, blah, blah. And like Nash said, the nerds came in and were like, shut the fuck up. The Acolyte was bad. Deadpool Wolverine was good. Shut your mouth.
Exactly. The actor for the Acolyte came out. She came out and said,
oh, I know.
Well, we faced a lot of discrimination, a lot of alt-right, white conservative. And it's like they do this every time, bro. It's getting annoying. Brie Larson did it with Captain Marvel. They did it with the Marvels. They did it with She-Hulk. It's like, if you suck, you just suck, and you need to accept that. It's not about white men. It's about how bad you are at writing stories and characters. Get over it.
Well, and think about even that argument of there's alt-right trolls on Twitter who are calling the what's her name, Amanda Stenberg, calling her the N-word, and we're never watching a Star Wars show with an N-word in it. Do you think those people have enough social sway to get nobody to watch The Acolyte because nobody watched The Acolyte? The only reason I know what happened on it is I watched every single video critiquing it because they were hilarious, breaking down everything bad about it. They were much more entertaining than the show itself. And so it was do you think that those alt-right trolls sitting on Twitter who sit on the internet all day, do you think they have any sway over what the average person watches? The average person doesn't even know that those people exist. They just saw what The Acolyte was, and they were like, I'm not watching that shit.
I wish the trolls didn't exist because, if anything, they're helping them because when the show fails, they'll come out and be like, it failed because of these trolls. They did it with Obi-Wan, the series, with the horrible character. I forgot her name. Moses Ingram played her. And they came out and said, this is
Rhea or something.
Reva or something.
Reva.
Racism. Right? They pay attention to the small, minute minority of obvious trolls. There's going to be trolls in everything. People troll Miss Rachel. People troll Coco Melon. There's going to be trolls all around, right? You can't put your blames on that minute portion of people. Take accountability.
Well,
especially with oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say I was thinking the same thing as Reed the other day, being on Twitter, seeing some people on the right posting things. It's like, can you just shut your fucking mouth? Do you understand how easily we would win this election if you would just shut the fuck up? I don't know why you think what you're posting is helping, but it's not helping anybody other than you. I guess you get engagement, but it's like you said, if they didn't have any examples to go on Twitter and view some nameless, faceless Twitter and be like, look at what they believe, it would be a slam dunk. But they they repost this shit and they go, this is what the right believes, and it's like, I don't believe that shit at all, but
Yeah.
like we get tied together, and so it's one of those things where I just wish, like big example, and I don't know if this will catch me any flack, I doubt it because this isn't big enough, but like Nick Fuentes, I wish Nick Fuentes would just shut the fuck up.
Bro.
I wish Nick Fuentes would just shut the fuck up.
The event I went to in Detroit, that convention I went to, bro was outside of it protesting. Literally, I think he was standing on like a truck or something, and there was like this big crowd around him. Right, not a very diverse crowd, naturally.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there's like this big crowd around him, and they're all protesting because they're like they think we hate America because we don't believe what he believes in. It's like, buddy, you're killing the vibe. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
You're killing the vibe.
Yeah.
There's no progress, or should I say, tradition to be made if you keep spewing what you're spewing, because everybody associates you with the entire right. You're a horrible person, and you should shut up.
And that's exactly correct, is that when somebody like Nick Fuentes says that traditional conservatism is like hating black people, and I mean, he's not married, he's gotten caught up in like gay scandals and shit, so he's like not a traditional guy anyway. But when you say I'm traditional, and then lefties view you saying I'm traditional, they go, that's what they mean by traditional. It's like, no, what I mean by traditional is just having like a nuclear family and taking care of them and having a strong border and all those kind of things. But like when our views get conflated, it only hurts us. So like, if you really want what's best for this country, then just shut the fuck up.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's wild, dude.
And it's funny because I don't want to spoil too much, but because it's my gratitude this week, but I had a conversation with somebody that I disagreed with over at my house with a couple of other guys on Friday, and it was beautiful. Like we had a normal conversation. Nobody got upset. He said he might come on the podcast next week, so that would be sick. But like we need to be able to articulate our views in a way that makes people understand what we're saying, and not in a way that just immediately makes them go like, ew, whatever you believe. I mean, it's the weird thing. That's the thing. It's
Exactly.
like conservatives are normal. Like that's the whole point of conservatism, is we're normal. But then one person will come out and be like, my version of traditional marriage is like you lock the woman in the kitchen, or like just something stupid, being a troll or whatever.
They'll
And
post
the-
on Twitter with a blonde family and like, this is
Yeah.
what it's supposed to be.
And it's like, all you did was make it look weird, and it's not the purpose. Is like, because I've said this since I was probably, I don't know, 12 years old. But my idea for America is like a beautiful neighborhood. Like I want to live out in the land, but you know, a lot of people like to live in towns and suburbs and stuff. And so like a suburb where like everybody's leaving for work in the morning, and there's a white guy and a black guy and a Chinese guy and like a dude with like tattoos or whatever, and they all walk out the house and they kiss their wives goodbye, and they've got their kids and they go to work, and like, so like we can do this like traditionally American thing together. We just have to do it together. And so just saying, like you said, saying stuff like the only way to be traditionally American is like to have blonde hair, blue eyes, like Nazi babies, is like what are you talking about?
God.
Like,
Yeah.
and that's real. I know we're going off on a huge tangent here. We're supposed to be talking about Kamala, but like obviously everybody loves, well, not everybody, but I particularly love World War II history, and to like sit here and like watch super crazy alt-right trolls online talk about how like good the Nazis were and how bad the Americans fighting them were, is like, boys, like there were bad things obviously that happened on a bunch of different like levels or whatever, but that was probably the only war, one of the only wars in history where like there was very clearly a good side and a bad side, and like that doesn't normally happen. And so to see, even though it is like 4 people online, to see them conflate like my traditionalism of like America in 1945 with their traditionalism of Nazi Germany in 1945 is like, no. Those are not the same things. We're not talking about the same thing.
Exactly.
And so, like we said, if they would just shut the fuck up, go in your house, go be in like an incel in the basement, and like look at your like Nazi shit, like whatever. I don't care, but like just shut up. Like all you're doing is hurting the cause. You're not helping anybody.
And that's why a lot of people will critique me, because it feels as though I'm too middle ground, or I try to be too middle ground. But the issue is, like you said, right, you have to meet people where they are. you're never going to progress with your ideas and your ideologies and your motives, right? If nobody can understand what you're saying, right? You have to meet people where they are and be able to have that conversation. If there's a blockade there, then there's no conversation to be had. Nobody's going to understand where you're coming from. You have to be middle ground. You have to be a little middle ground. Stand on your morals and values, right? But be able to understand the other perspective and meet them where they are to have that combo.
Well, that's the thing is you have your conservative view, which is obviously is the correct view, but you have to be able to talk to them on their level. So like if you sat up here and talked about like the illegal issue as like when we talk about the illegal issue as like an invasion and all these kind of things, that's not the language they understand. But when you talk about it from like it's a burden on the economy, it like Lake and Riley and people like them getting killed, or even the Aurora apartment complexes being taken over, or the school buses in California where that the illegals tried to hijack. Like normal people understand that. They go, I wouldn't want my kids to be like have their bus taken over by illegals. I wouldn't want to have my apartment complex taken over by illegals. So my thing is not necessarily coming to the middle, but using language that they empathize with as opposed to just like insane sort of conservative rhetoric that everyone on this panel would understand, but that's not what they understand.
Exactly. Yeah, you're cooking. You're cooking.
But back to Koala. I just think that it's crazy that we have a candidate who was not even close to getting anywhere near Joe Biden in the 2020 election, and then they made her the candidate. Nobody voted on shit. They just installed her. And then the NPC brain just immediately went, okay, Kamala Harris is the greatest thing we've ever seen, and it'll be historic and all these kind of things. And it's really scary that we live in a country where I know there are some normal people that probably saw it, but like the vast majority of people on the left were like, whatever they say, whatever the regime says, we're going to back it. It's like, I mean, they just did it with COVID. They just did it with, they do it with like the trans thing. Like, no, I don't know if anybody really believes that these people are women and deserve like to be in women's spaces or whatever, but that's what they're told. So they just shut their mouths and go along with it. And I just saw a video. I don't know what Ivy League it was, but it just said Ivy League students. But they were asked if men can get pregnant, and all of them were just like, I don't want to answer this question. And it's like, because you know that the answer is no, but you know that the powers that be could punish you for like speaking outside of what they would believe. And so you just go along with it. But it's like same. So on the topic of Kamala, it's like, if you guys would just stand up to it, they would never do this again, or they couldn't do this again because they know it wouldn't work. But because you just go along with it, they're going to do it every single time. They're just going to pick who they want it to be, and they're going to put them in there. And that's not, for the party that's always about democracy. That's not democracy, or even a constitutional republic. That's just like dictatorship.
Exactly.
Yeah, it literally it takes away your like. What's great about America is we have a voice. Like the people have the voice. We the people, power to the people. Like that is the great thing about America. And when you shut up and stop saying what you think, that's when we lose that power, and that's when people just go, oh, well, this is your next leader. Oh, this is your next leader. Oh, guess what? Well, you're not going to be able to leave your house anymore. Or, oh, guess what? This is what you're going to pay for gas. Or, oh, nope, houses. Like, that's how it goes. And it's when you stop using your freedom of speech, it goes away.
Yeah,
pretty simple.
And that goes for all of them. Go ahead, Reed.
Like I've said before, because I'm relatively new to politics, but it was always my...
Well, you're 12 years old, so...
Damn.
You mean 12 years younger than you. That's what you're saying.
Damn.
It's like, nah.
Hey, he's not that far off, but...
No, but... So, like, for example, my mom, she was very anti-government, but she, had... some very pro-black takes, some liberal takes, right? But she was very anti-government. It was always my understanding that the left or some liberals were very anti-government, and they didn't want to be regulated and controlled in that way, which, I know some are, and some are today, or they claim to be. However, it seems as if all of their ideologies align with government control, right, and essentially listening to the government, whether it's they tell you to shut up and mask up, Whether it's, well, we want these people coming in by the millions, right? Or whether it's, we want the government dictating these women's spaces. I'm very confused because I had always such a different perception of what the left or liberals thought about the government and government control, and apparently I was wrong. So,
well, and it's crazy because using the COVID example too, is it's like leftists were, well, I think both parties were pretty anti-big pharma, but unfortunately, like Bush type Republicans were like, well, if they make their money, they make their money, whatever kind of thing. But now the left is like, literally whatever pharma says is the truth, and it's like, wait, didn't you just spend the last like 50 years claiming that they would lie and make up studies and all these kind of things to push vaccines to make money or push medicines to make money or whatever?
Exactly.
And now you're like, whatever they say, I believe. So, they do this even with the trans issue with like giving the drugs to minors and stuff, and they're like, well, the doctors say that it's fine. And it's like, well, yeah, because they make money off of it. Like, what are you talking about? Of course they do. So how about we get like an independent person? And that's what's happening like in England and in Sweden and all these other European places where they're like, they've now banned it because it's bad, especially because it's socialized medicine. So they don't make money off of it regardless. They'll make their money from the government, whatever happens. So they sort of have a more independent view. Like, we don't need these treatments to make money. We'll make our money regardless. But where America, the doctors are like, we want to make our money, so we're going to pump whatever we can out there. And the left has just turned all of a sudden into whatever you say, doc. And it's like,
yeah. Everybody claims that like a switch happened, right? I think it was back in the 60s, right? But maybe there was another switch that happened.
Yeah.
Maybe there's another switch that happened in 2016 or 2020.
Yeah.
The funniest thing about the switch though is that, well, first of all, to give them their credit, the left is incredible at, I guess labeling things would be like a kind of a low education way to put it, but it's like they're perfect at the way they frame things. If they can, a minute they frame something, they win on it. So again, something like Black Lives Matter, you could not disagree with it because then you're disagreeing with the phrase Black Lives Matter, or the trans genocide thing. You can't disagree with the trans stuff because there's a genocide going on when actually they have a lower murder rate than like the normal population. But like that's exactly what happened with the switch. Is it's like they just switched. What switched was their way they frame things. Like we've been saying, is that they believe all the same things that the racist Southerners and Democrats believed like 100 years ago. They just frame it differently, and so now they'll put a black lady up there and say, see, we're not racist. We also know you can't use computers, and you don't even know what a computer is. And it's like, they're the same racist Democrats. They're the same, like, oppressive. They want what they want. I mean, yeah, the only thing that's changed is their phrasing. The switch never happened. You can look that up with only I think 2 Democrats like switched during that time, and that's what they claimed the switch was. But then like Joe Biden was going to KKK members' funerals and stuff and speaking. So nothing actually changed. They just changed the phrasing of it, and then they just speak you down, yell you down until you stop arguing about it.
Yeah.
It's sad.
Yeah, it's sad. And so the final word of this is just vote Trump. Again, like Reed said, I will say I really hate it when people claim that you have to defend everything he does and says if you support him, and it's like, no, you don't. There's plenty of things he says and does. He's much more pro-abortion than I am, and I don't agree with that. However, if the options are Trump and Kamala, which they are, no matter how much you go, well, if we don't vote for him, maybe they'll pick. No, the options are Trump and Kamala, and Trump is very clearly the better candidate, not as a person, not somebody as the person I want to go get a beer with, but as the presidential candidate, as the president. He's much clearly the better president. So vote for Trump.
I'll
do one better.
Who knows? I might get a beer with him. Who knows? Go ahead.
I said I'll do one better. Do some research. Like it's just do a couple of Google searches. Just look into things. Like look at numbers because we literally have 2 presidencies to compare. Literally,
Yep.
This is like the first time in a long time I think that we've had 2 full presidencies that we can go, okay, which one was better for me, and then you
Yep.
can vote for that person. And 90%, hell yeah, like 99% of people, if they do their work, should say Trump was better for me.
Well, the problem with that is there are leftists right now who are claiming that the economy's like amazing, and it's like you can't even reason with a person who would say that the economy's fine right now. So I don't even know how you would reach them. The other thing is that there are people that you're just not going to reach, no matter how much research they did or whatever.
It's amazing, but Kamala's going to come in and fix everything. That's amazing already.
That she just caused, yeah.
Yeah, doesn't make sense to me. But a lot of people were going to vote for RFK too, and he already endorsed Trump. So I mean, you might as well endorse him.
That was a big baller move right there.
Yeah, and that's before we get to attitude and gratitude. That's something that I don't think we talk about enough. Is the selflessness to want to be president, but then to go, I don't really have that big of a shot, and I think Trump is our best option coming forward, so I'm going to drop out and endorse him. That's selflessness that we don't normally see at that level, and it's not surprising that it comes from a guy who's not really a lifelong politician. Yeah. But I really appreciate the selflessness of realizing the situation instead of just going down with the ship like a Nikki Haley would, or like Kamala would, or whoever. So good on RFK. Tulsi Gabbard also a great backing for Trump. So, all right. But now the good part, because now we get to get a little personal. We're going to go into attitude and gratitude. Nash, it's been like 45 weeks since you've been on the podcast. You want to start with attitude?
Yeah. Actually, I don't have an attitude just yet. But if y'all start talking, like if one of you want to go first, I'll come up
you'll
with
find
one.
something to rant about.
I'll find something.
All right, I'll start then. I'll go ahead. It's my platform. So my attitude this week has been, it was, like I said, we touched on it. It's been irritating me a lot. Also, Reed's Discord a little bit, don't come after me, but Reed's Discord a little bit helped with this. But I'm really sick of the terminally online conservative, in just that, as a conservative, we hold these traditional values of having a nuclear family, providing for that family, being out in your community, taking care of your community. I would say being involved in a church, but if you're not religious for some reason, being involved in something else sort of similar. And so we were talking about the alt-right trolls of you just sit online all day and you talk about these things, but you're not doing these things. And so you're talking a lot of conservatives, which we should talk about, the population decline and the replacement and all those kind of things. But you're not doing anything to help that. You're not having kids. You're not getting married. You're not out in your community. You're not doing these things. You're just sitting online and complaining about it. So I think one of the things that needs to differentiate us from the left is that we don't just sit online and cry about a company doing something, or cry about something that triggered us, or cry. You just go outside. Go outside and get involved in your community. Go outside and lift weights. Go outside and do something active. Well, hey, you're out being a big shot in private jets and stuff. So that's what you're out there doing. So, but so my attitude was just terminally online conservatives. Just go outside. Go touch some grass. Go talk. If you're a boy, go talk to a girl. I understand the dating pool is hard, but that just means you need to get out there even more, not sit on your computer and cry about it. So
there's somebody for everybody.
Yeah,
right.
For sure. If I can find an amazing woman, and Nash can find an amazing woman, and Reed can find an amazing woman, and Alex can find an amazing, all of you can too. So Reed.
Y'all are good looking folks though. Not everybody. It's harder for some people though. You know what I mean?
You better cut that out right now. You better cut that out.
Well, we can get to a whole debate next time we get on here. But okay, if you recognize that you're not that attractive, then don't go for the 10 that you see online, the Instagram girl who does the traditional content, and she's only doing it because she's smoking hot and so she can do that kind of stuff. Don't go for that girl. Go for the nerdy girl at your local church or your local library or whatever. And I'm going to say this might be controversial, but women are much more elastic in their political views than men are. So if you're a conservative guy and you meet a girl who's a little bit liberal, you could mold her into your views much more than vice versa. So also don't be scared to date a girl who's not a crazy lefty who wants to get pregnant so she can kill her baby, but a normal liberal girl who just feels that's what she's been taught her whole life and
She
whatever.
doesn't really
She's a
have
little,
an opinion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's got her toe
She's-
in the water a little bit.
Yeah.
yeah. So you can get her to you sort of pry her that way. So
Yeah.
go outside,
her.
go touch grass, mold her. I was going to use the G word, but never mind. I won't do that. But Reed, go ahead.
I don't know what the G word is, guys.
We're gonna leave it at that.
All right. So I had a different attitude before, like 5 seconds ago, but we already talked about my hate for Taylor Swift, so I'm not going to use that one.
Yeah.
My attitude is going to have to be fast food workers. All right.
Ooh.
Let's go. I'm going to sit back and ready for this.
In particular, freaking the drive-through people that take your order and they take your money and they give you your food. Buddy, it's like they're upset at me for wanting food. You applied for this job. Why are you upset? Give me my fries. And it's not even that. It's oh, we want a living wage. We want more money. We want to make $25 an hour. But you can't even get my order right the first time. You never get my order right. Specifically the Popeyes on Broad Street. I apologize. Actually, I don't apologize. You guys suck. This is a horrible institution, and I wish I just replace everybody with robots. Please hurry up. Hurry up, Elon, and replace all of the fast food workers with robots because it's getting out of hand. I greatly dislike these people, but I won't even show it, and yet they'll show their dislike for me. I don't know if they have unions or something, so they don't have to care when they go to work, but at least put a smile on your face or something. Don't be upset at me because you're offering me a service. That's where I'll leave it before I say more things. That's where
I am
That's a
100%.
good
100%. Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
Dude, the amount of times that, I'm not necessarily like an extrovert. I like the people I like, and I don't like the people that I don't know. But like when I go to anywhere public, whether it's Walmart, fast food, whatever, I always put a smile on my face, and I go, "How you doing this morning?" And the amount of times you'll get like a, and then they just like, "What can I do for you?" It's like, you're the person in customer service. I don't work here. I should not be nicer than you are doing your job for you. I can't stand it. And I've worked customer service, so I'm not saying this is somebody who's never experienced the shittiness that customer service jobs can bring. But like, just like Reed said, just put a fucking smile on your face. Just like, you have to do it. You have to be there. So you might as well enjoy what you're doing. I know it can suck sometimes. I've worked in like delis, so like food service. I've worked in grocery stores. I've worked in whatever. It can suck. I get that. But your negative bullshit attitude about it isn't going to help anybody.
Exactly. And then you have people that will say right here, oh, well, we need a better quality of life for these workers. Listen, the quality is what you make it. Like, for example, I believe I work in a very quality environment, right? I work in a very safe environment, but there's individuals that are going to hate working there for whatever reasons that they have. I don't believe you can expect a quality environment if you're not going to make it a quality environment. Like, for example,
correct.
You can't you demand a higher wage, and yet you'll come and act like you'll have a minimum wage attitude. Right? You'll demand a higher wage, and yet you'll say, "Oh, well, I'm only going to work or do the work that they're paying me for. I'm going to put in minimum effort." As if you're going to progress in your career field by doing that. It's absolutely insanity. You want things, but you aren't willing to work for them or put your best foot forward or put your best attitude forward. So that's why I hold these people accountable. I don't care how sucky your job is. You're working in customer service. How about you service the customer before you start complaining about how your environment needs to be better and how you need to have a better work environment, right? Because you're making the environment sucky for everybody. I posted about this on my Twitter, the Dejon Reid on Twitter. You're making the environment sucky. So until you make my environment sucky, you can have a shitty environment. I don't care.
Yeah,
dude, that's the thing with the like all the TikTok trends of like act your wage and quiet quitting and all that bullshit. The workplace will never change. The type of people who employ you are not going to look at you acting your wage and go, "Oh man, maybe I should pay them more so they'll act better." No, they're just gonna not pay you more. You're just going to sit in your shitty job, work in your shitty environment that you've created. And this lack of like accountability in the average person is actually insane to me because it's not the way I was raised. I was always told, like Reed was saying, like you make the best of your situation, and that's how you get out of it. Is like you work. In acting, your wage should be acting for the wage you want, not for the wage you have. And so if you're working base customer service at a fast food restaurant and you want to get paid like an assistant manager or something, you better start acting like an assistant manager. You better start doing extra tasks. You better start acting really well. Like I knew all kinds of people who probably shouldn't have been in management, but they were good at their jobs. So they got promoted and they got more responsibility and they got all that stuff. And then I even know people who, as soon as they get a promotion, they're like, oh, now I have to do more work. Yeah, that's what comes with more money, is more responsibility. Like, welcome to real life. You're not going to get paid for stuff you don't do. Never, ever. It's never going to happen. And I don't know why you're going to fight it until you're just like 45 years old working at the same McDonald's position that you've worked your entire life.
Cook.
Yep.
Literally.
That's on par. So I worked retail for 3 years, right? And I worked at the widest retail store in America, the TJ Maxx. All right? I don't know if you know who shops at TJ Maxx, but it's 95% older white women. All right?
Animals.
Looks like Wyoming in there.
It was insane how many there were. But the amount of times they would come up and ask me something, and all I'd have to do is give them we call it the retail voice, right? Just give them a, hey, how can I help you today? Oh my gosh, dude, it would either make their day, or if they were coming at me with a bitchy attitude, they were like, oh, okay, and like that, it made my job 10 times easier. Just to put a smile on my face for 5 fucking seconds, and then I'll walk away and be like, this bitch. Like that's all I had to do. Like literally, oh, I broke a candle in this aisle. That's all right, we'll take care of it. Oh, thank you so much. They walk off. Oh, who breaks a fucking candle? Like, put a little smile on your face, take it, right? I wasn't getting paid for customer service. I was getting paid to do my job in the back room or to clean up the aisles or ring customers up. Now, when I was ringing customers up, I had to be like, oh, how are you doing today? TJ Maxx card, whatever, all that jazz. But, like, you could see it down the line. Like, we had, like, these college chicks that, like, oh, I'm working a job. And they'd sit there and ring people up all day and ring people up all day. And we have other dudes who are going to be like, okay, I'm working at this. And they would sell, like, the TJ Maxx credit card. Or they'd be like, hey, we've got another one of those back there if you want to go grab that one too. Or like that. And those dudes ended up being coordinators or managers. Or if a chick did that, she ended up being like a coordinator or a manager. And it's like, it's not hard. Like, you can see it play out. You just have to play the game for a little bit.
But nobody wants to play the game anymore. Everybody thinks that they should just be able to act. They should be able to come in sweatpants and act like they don't want to be there and get paid the manager wage. And it's a real like kindergarten way of viewing work. But it's unfortunately what we're dealing with. But all right, Nash, did you come up with an attitude?
Yeah, I got my attitude. So it kind of piggybacks on Reed's a little bit. But whenever people do not reciprocate general kindness, right? So it piggybacks on that a little bit. But like my big thing is like I've just noticed when I go out, like in general, people have just a worse demeanor than ever before. It feels like I will hold the door open for someone, and it's like nothing, not a thank you, not a hand up or whatever, or you let somebody go out in front of you. I feel like the general rule is as a thank you, like thank you for that. No, nothing. No one ever does it anymore. And when I do get those, it makes my day. And the fact that it makes my day pisses me off even more because I'm like, it shouldn't make my day. It's just a normal, it's a common courtesy. And it just seems like nobody has that anymore. Like it's just in general, just, hey, like you walk by someone in the store or whatever, like, oh, excuse me, let me get by you here. Or you walk by somebody, you make weird eye contact, you give a little smile and you keep walking, right? That's how it works. You don't just give them a, I'm going to kill you in the parking lot look. Like, that's terrible. And it pisses me off the high heavens, especially when I'm out with my wife and it happens to her. I get like furious. I'm like, this fucker, like, you can't even exchange a smile. Or,
do you know how sweet my wife is? You just fucking
like,
to me.
I can't believe you would ever look at this angel that way. Like, I'll tell you, dude, it gets me riled up. Like, we went to Olive Garden yesterday, and she was walking back to the table, and she was like, that dude just gave me the dirtiest look. I was like, what'd you do? And she was like, I just smiled at him. And I was like, I was
I'll
like,
shoot
people
him right here, right now.
I literally,
I was doing something dangerous.
I burned holes through the back of his head for the rest of lunch. I was just like, I wish this motherfucker would turn around.
Turned
I wish
around.
He would.
Oh man,
He's catching a fork to the back of the dome.
dude. So actually, on that, Matt Walsh, I love Matt Walsh, had a bit about how people who don't reciprocate like handshakes, like if you go in for a handshake and somebody goes to fist bump you, that should be like an immediate jail sentence. I agree with that, and I think we should take it to that. Like if you go out in public and somebody like smiles at you or waves at you or whatever, does something nice for you, you don't reciprocate it, jail, straight to jail. There's no conversation to be had. The cops should come and arrest you. Like we have to. On a serious note, though, we have to live in a society. You know the whole meme, but like we have to be able to interact with each other, and like when you reduce that, that's. I mean, I'm going to make it a little serious for a second, but that's where like epidemics like the school shooting stuff kind of happens. Is we don't care about each other anymore. We don't look at each other as like countrymen and people and like family and all those kind of things. We're just all individuals, like doing our own thing. And so when you don't view people as people, that's when like really bad things happen. And so something as simple as like, hey, when we're out in public, you're going to act like a human being. You're going to not have your like pants hanging off your ass. You're not going to cuss at people. You're not going to, oh shoot, Nash, thank you so much for this. Now I get to tell this story. When we were just down in Florida for my birthday, we went to this like hiking area, and there's a spring there that's like closed off to everything other than like looking at it. And some boys were fishing in it. There was like 5 of them. They're like 15, and 4 white guys, 1 black guy. And they were fishing in there. They weren't supposed to, but I just walked by them. I was like, okay, you're not supposed to be doing that, but I just kept walking. And I got my first real life Karen. She came like in front of them and started screaming at them, cussing at them. You guys are fucking idiots, blah, blah, blah. And so I got my daughter with me, my wife with me, my son with me. And then I don't want anything to happen to these boys. One of the boys was like, she was like, what are you going to do? And he was like, I'll show you what I'm going to do. And I was like, I don't need these boys getting caught up in something and going to jail for like something as stupid as this. So I walked over. I told my wife to keep walking with the kids, and I walked over. And I start talking to the boys, and I start talking to them like men. And so I'm like, guys, come on, like you're not supposed to be here, whatever. And they're like, she came over here, blah, blah. And I was like, right, but we're men, and we don't talk like that to women. So like you don't need to be doing this, like just walk away, whatever. Well, she starts screaming at me, going, I don't need you to fucking get involved, and you need to fucking get out of here, and blah, blah, blah. And so I start yelling back at her. I start yelling back at her that I've got my daughter here. I started yelling back that I've got my daughter here, I've got my wife here, and I don't want anybody screaming and cussing at each other, so everybody just needs to go their own way. And she was like, no, you can get the fuck out of here. We don't need you. Well, all the boys immediately, once I talked to them like men, were like, ma'am, we're wrong. We're going to get out of here. And they start walking away, and the women keep screaming. So I held my hand up and said, have a good day. And as I'm walking back to my family, one of the kids starts being funny, like laughing at her or whatever, and cusses. And the rest of them go, dude, his daughter's over there. You don't need to be talking like that. And I was like, it took 5 seconds of treating them like people, treating them like men, for them all to get it. For them all to go from, fuck this lady, fuck everybody else, I want to do my shit, whatever, to, all right, guys, we're like people, we need to like react a certain kind of way, whatever. Yeah. And then she didn't act that way because like she doesn't want to treat anybody like people. And so that was like the perfect segue of like, if you That's just awesome. Treat people like people, they act like people. But if you don't treat people like people, and you treat everybody like a burden, like Rita was saying with the fast food workers, and you treat everybody in public like they shouldn't even exist or whatever, that's why bad things happen. And so like we just need to get back to a place where we're like treating each other like people and not like NPCs. Everybody, nobody exists except me, and it's like that's such a scary attitude.
Exactly. Yeah, there's a difference between like individualism, where it's like, okay, I prioritize me and my family, versus narcissism, where, like you said, you treat everybody like an NPC, and you're just in this video game simulation.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's awesome, dude.
Well, that was good. I like that, Nash. Yeah. All right. Well, now let's be grateful. Let's be happy. My gratitude this week, like I sort of alluded to earlier, is good conversation. I had some guys over Friday night, and I just asked one of the guys, because he's like the nicest person I've ever met all the time, and so I was kind of like, where does that come from? Like, I've never seen you mad, normal. Like, he's always smiling. So I just wanted to talk to him about it. And so then he surprised me and he said he was an atheist, and I was like, oh, that's kind of shocking to me that you're like the happy all the time and an atheist, just because I not the normal atheist attitude. And so we had a conversation about it. And so me and two other guys were talking to him about Christianity, and he was defending his atheism point, and it was beautiful. Like, nobody ever got upset, nobody ever got defensive, nobody ever got like, and at like every couple sentences it was like, I hope you don't take this as like preaching to you, or I hope you don't take this as insulting your faith or whatever. And it was like, I was just sitting, I was involved, and then at one point I just sat back and I was like we could do this. Like, this is amazing. Like, we could have these conversations if we treat everybody like people, and we treat everybody like they're not scumbags for thinking the things they think, and they just that's just the way they've either been raised or their environment or whatever. And so we can have these conversations, and it was amazing. And it was beautiful, like I said, to the point where I told him about the podcast. I shamelessly plugged it, and told him I'd want him on it, and he was like, oh yeah, I'd love that. And then he texted me afterwards apologizing for taking over the conversation, and I was like, no, that's exactly the kind of conversation I want to have. So like it was this like beautiful moment of like, we came together as total, I mean, that's total disagreement, and we sort of found like a common ground, and we still respected each other, and I still love him. I'm going to have him over again next time we do that. And it's like, I love that. I love when you have these moments where you can see that, because most of the time when I have these kind of conversations, it turns to like, you know, you're a Nazi bigot who wants to kill me and my family. And it's like, so yeah, my gratitude was that. It was wonderful.
That's awesome.
Nice.
I want to talk to this guy. That's awesome.
Oh yeah. Nice.
Well, either you could be on the podcast when he's on, and also, you know, you're going to come to the house eventually, both of you. So we'll have the conversation here too.
Oh yeah. And then, again, I'm sorry I missed that last one. It sounds like it was
you had
a ball.
things going on.
Sounds like it was a ball, though. Man, my freaking gratitude. It's not going to touch y'all's. Y'all did fantastic. Not too big, but as everybody knows, I like the smaller things in life. My gratitude, guys, is getting colder outside. Listen, listen. The humidity is
hoodie weather,
away.
baby.
The humidity is going away, and the cold is here to stay. That's all because, you know, living in the freaking sauna that we live in, it's kind of hard to appreciate true true Arctic weather, if that makes sense. So it's nice to feel the breeze again. I'll say that. It's not a bunch of grandmothers licking my face all over. It's you know, it's nice. It's nice and brisk. I like it. That's my gratitude.
That's good, man. I love
That's
the fall.
beautiful. Yeah. I had 2 different sports practices last week, and going out there and it's like 70 degrees and breezy. It was like, I don't know how to like jar this forever, but that's how I want to do that, because like going from the summer of practicing and it's like 100 and something degrees outside and humid and you just want to die, going to that, it's like, man, this is what sports are meant to be. This is why sports are in the fall.
It's one of my favorite things.
So.
That's what I think. If they sent me to McCord, I wouldn't. I was always scared of Washington because I was like, they're very blue, their politics, I'm not a big fan. But fact of the matter is, like, me and my girlfriend, we were just up there for a wedding, and you go outside of Seattle, and apparently it gets, it gets a lot more conservative. So if you have that, if you're outside of Seattle and you have the weather is insane. Mind you, we went up there during like August here, where it was like all humidity, and the difference in climates, it's, I want to go back. I would live there. I would absolutely live there, bro. I would just make sure my kid's in like a Christian school or something. But other than that, the weather's fantastic.
Yeah, I lived there in Washington State for 2 years, and it's incredible. We had a 4th of July one year that was like 55 degrees outside, and it was like, this is actually amazing. This is like, you could be comfy when it's nighttime and the fireworks are going off. You're like on a blanket with like your hoodies on and stuff. It was like, this is, I get why people live up here. This is amazing.
Yeah. I get giddy about it, bro. I get giggly. I love it, man.
That's awesome.
All right, Nash, what's the gratitude, bro?
Yeah, so mine's with the temp dropping as well. But I love my yard, and I love mowing, I love cutting the grass. So I'm a little upset about that, but with the temperature dropping, I'm going to be able to do a lot more yard stuff and projects outside that I've been wanting to do. It's just been too damn hot because I work in the afternoons, and so if I want to get anything done, I got to get up at the ass crack of dawn before that sun gets up. Otherwise, I'm out there working 95, 100-degree weather, and I hate it. So fall is going to be a good time for me. Get a lot done outside the house, and yeah, I'm excited. And hopefully, another little gratitude I'll add. I got a new position, so to speak. So hopefully my schedule will stay consistent for a little while.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
Hopefully.
Nice.
Well, on that note of your fall, I meant to bring this up during the introductions, and then we just sort of rolled into things. Your October, Nash, is going to be a little
jam-packed.
Mr. Nash-ville here is already married, but he will be getting married like in
Under
front
the
of
Lord.
people and under the Lord and
Nice.
everything.
Yep.
So big congrats to Nashville.
Appreciate it.
Congrats.
We got his bachelor party coming up. A couple
Yes,
weeks,
sir.
And that's going to be
Really?
crazy.
It's going to be a good-ass time.
It will
Nice.
definitely be a good time.
Yeah.
But I just want to give a shout out to you. I know you got
Appreciate it,
good
buddy.
things coming up. So
Yeah, dude. It's a lot of driving and traveling, that's for sure.
that's how
Yeah.
my August was. I put so many miles on that damn car.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
all right. Well, the tier list this week we replaced a little bit just because Nash not a big NFL guy and Reed's a nerd. He's a terminally online conservative. So I thought this would be a little interesting. I want to know. Because I'm going to give mine last because I'm obsessed with sports ball, but which is another attitude for another day. I hate that phrase, but we're going to go into this. Nash, week 1 just happened, but you don't even really know what happened.
Yeah.
Super Bowl comes in February. Who do you have in the Super Bowl and winning the Super Bowl?
All right, so it's a pretty safe pick, I feel.
Shoot from the hip.
I'm gonna go Chiefs for the AFC.
Yep.
I feel like it's safe.
Yep.
And then I haven't even paid attention. I know the Lions did really well last year.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go Lions for NFC.
Hell yeah.
Screw
Chiefs,
it.
Lions.
Chiefs, Lions.
Who's
Why
winning
not?
that game?
I'm going to say the Chiefs win, but I hope the Lions win.
All right.
Actually, flip-flop
Reed.
that. I think the Lions win, but I want the Chiefs to win. There we go. I'm a Chiefs stan now, baby.
Hell yeah.
How do I say this? I think I'll hop on that one. I'll say that the Chiefs for the AFC. Chiefs will probably go, right? That's the easiest choice.
Yeah, that's an easy, good
But-
pick.
The Packers for the NFC. The Packers go all the way. Everybody knows that you have to lose the first one in order to go all the way. The Packers, we get a rematch of Super Bowl I. Packers go all the way, and they defeat the Chiefs. Like Thanos in Endgame, the Avengers, the Packers defeat the Chiefs, and everybody reigns supreme. Everybody's happy because Taylor Swift is finally defeated, and my Packers are back to their absolute glory. So that's my prediction. Yeah.
I love it.
That's a hell of a prediction. I love that. All right. So,
He put some money on that one.
yeah, honestly, you might win some big
Yeah,
bucks because
maybe.
I don't think that's a. All right. Well, I also have the Chiefs for the AFC only because I was watching the Baltimore Chiefs game, and I don't think Baltimore can keep up with them. And I don't even know anybody else in the AFC other than maybe Houston, but I think the Chiefs beat Houston. So I'm going to go with the Chiefs in the AFC. And then for the NFC, I had the Lions, but because Nash picked the Lions, I will go with my second pick here. I think it'll be a rematch of the Super Bowl we just had, the 49ers and the Chiefs. My boy Brock Purdy, big
Yeah.
Christian
Yeah.
guy. Christian McCaffrey got in trouble for being traditional this offseason, and George Kittle is just a baller. So I'm going 49ers Chiefs, and I'm actually going that the 49ers get their revenge finally,
They
and the
better.
49ers beat the Chiefs. And then Christian McCaffrey and Harrison Butker have a nice little conversation after the game about who's more based. So
I need to see that jersey swap.
yeah. But yeah, so Chiefs 49ers. That's my pick. 49ers
like
win. We're going to go, I'm even going to go, 27-20. Because if it's up to a field goal, I think the Chiefs win. Because I think they can drive down and kick a field goal.
Yeah.
So 27-20.
Wouldn't that be a moment, right?
Oh,
After all of his controversy, he gets down there and wait, is he the punter or the kicker?
The kicker. So winning a game-winning Super Bowl field goal
Yeah.
would be sick for Harrison Butker.
Oh,
But
That would be amazing.
especially after his mega extension this offseason.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Chiefs for doing that. So
The single
All right,
moms are
boys.
really mad.
they certainly are. Those cat ladies will be crying in their wine. Nash, you're back on finally. Do you have any beautiful last words, my man?
You know what's coming.
I do know it's coming.
As always, boys, enjoy your week. Enjoy each other. Be out there having fun. Go do something and be better.
Be better than you were yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Reed, you got all the
What?
fans in the world watching. Give them a good old.
It's like, well, right now there's like, for the people watching that have watched this and that will watch this on YouTube, from the Front Porch on YouTube, obviously.
Yeah.
All I'll say is, I'll piggyback off of that. Be better than you were yesterday. That goes out to the fast food workers, right? Put your best foot forward, is what I would
That
say.
goes out to the fast food workers.
Go out into the world, right? Wanting to put your best foot forward, because I think that really matters. And just a kind of side note, networking is incredibly important, right? So in order to put your best foot forward, this is what I was talking to one of the people that just joined the Discord yesterday, and it kind of touches on what Josh and Nash were talking about. Community. Community is very important. I think one of the best ways to succeed and strive in this country and just in life is to have a community that backs you, right? And, if you're able to surround yourself with, like-minded individuals, and even some individuals that may disagree with you and know how to check you in certain regards and, give you the best facts at hand, I think you'll go on in life a lot more educated than people that don't have that community behind them, right? So don't be afraid to network. Don't be afraid to get a community around you, and, support people, if that makes sense. That would be pretty much it. Yeah. Build a community, right? I think I'd be a lot lower than where I am now without my Discord, right? And I sound like a freaking Discord mod, and I have a kitten somewhere, but it's really not. It's like the community that I've managed to build. I freaking love these guys, right? They support me in all of my endeavors, and we keep gathering and gaining more traction and more people that come over, and like I notice when I talk to other people, I can't do it, but when I talk to you, right, when I talk to you people, you guys are so embraceful, and even if we disagree, that's a beautiful thing, right? Because, it, like I said, it puts that community on your back, and it shows that you can engage. It shows that you can be embraced, and more people just want to network with you, more people want to talk to you, and again, that just adds to the idea of putting your best foot forward so that more people do want to work with you and support you. So, yeah, succeed, guys. That's the way to do it.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
All right. I have one too. I guess sort of on the same lines as both of you. But so I just had my birthday, and it was my 30th birthday, unfortunately. And
You don't look a day over 25.
hey, thanks, man. No, but seriously, I've been having a lot of thoughts about it. A lot of thoughts about how, like I said, I play two sports, and how I got a lot of years still left in it, but it's sort of coming down to the end. And I have my wife and two kids. Like I'm sort of in that chapter of my life. So I've been doing a lot of thinking about it, because I feel like I was 21 years old yesterday, and then everything happened. And so on that note, just do what you're passionate about, do what you love, do what you know is right. Life comes at you fast, life happens fast, and so spending time. I mean, it was sort of on my attitude of like sitting online. Life is very short; it happens really fast. Go outside, do the things you love, be with the people you love. Form a community, spend like meaningful time with them, like I would say, talk to women. If you're a guy, go outside. But seriously, like, life is short, and there's only a certain amount of time that you can do things on this earth. So do them. Don't wait. Don't hesitate. Do the steps you need to do them now, because eventually you'll be 30 years old wondering, like, I got so much life ahead of me, but where did all that time just go? So, yeah. So just do what you love and do it now. Don't wait. Don't wait for some other opportune moment. Just do it now, and do it to the best of your ability. I have some things in my life where I didn't do that. So, like, I didn't get to the place I wanted to be in certain things because I thought I had all the time in the world, and you don't. So, yeah, so just like Reed was saying, put your best foot forward, do your best every day, be better than you were yesterday, and chase the things you want to do. That's my last little.
Great way to end it.
Nice.
All right, boys. Well, I appreciate you so much. This has been another episode of From the Front Porch. I'm your host, Joshua Walker. If you're still here, I really appreciate you. Please like, comment, subscribe, do all those things. I really appreciate Reed for being on here. Nash, I always appreciate you for being on here.
Sure.
Hopefully, either both of them will be back next week. One of them will be back next week. We'll get some disagreements going on next week. I don't know what the hell that little rat thing that Reed has is, but
It's a beautiful dog. Don't show your mouth.
But it's your host, Joshua Walker. Thank you so much for tuning back in, and we'll see you next week. Peace.